Absolutely 100% true. If you don't love it, we will chew you up and spit you out. So today, because there's a lot of younger people, I will not be the crusher of your dreams. That's what my nickname, I have many nicknames, and one is the crusher of dreams. Because if you don't love this, it is very hard work. We aren't saving lives, we're not doctors, we're not in the military, but we have long hours. It's a tough business, so you have to love it. So my job is to help you get started in the industry. Whether you want to be somebody who just goes off and shoots stuff yourself, or whether you want to actually make independent films or big budget feature films, that's what I'm here to talk about today. So I can look around the room and already answer my own question, but how many of you are over 18? All right, not moms and, like moms and parents who don't want to be in the industry, you're not included. You can put your hands down. Let's try this again. How many people in the room are over 18? So a handful, okay. So it was all the moms and still, hands up. I like it. All right, so how many of you have ever been on a big movie set? Anybody? As a crew person or as an extra? Crew. Excellent, what'd you do? Oh yeah, you're the back in the day girl. Copy you. Ah, that's where I live. So you moved to the wrong place. You want to get back in the industry and you move out of the biggest place in the Southeast? What's wrong with you? Yeah, well, I see. I love that bring it back home thing, so I can go with that. All right. So first let's talk about entry-level positions in the film industry. What is that? That is what's called a production assistant, or PA for short. We call them PAs. So this is the entry-level position, and a lot of people will say, oh, I'm just a PA. But PAs are the foundation. Like, we can't make movies without PAs. Yes, you may be running coffee and running food, but you're also communicating and getting the actors through hair, makeup, and wardrobe and getting them ready. And you're communicating to everyone on set. So we cannot do anything without PAs. They are the foundation of the house. And if we don't build a proper foundation, that whole house is going to fall over. So that's a very, very important position. They're literally the lifeblood. I have notes. Usually I don't use notes, but I didn't think I should wing it up here like everybody else today. All right, so where are PA positions needed? So they're needed in the office, in the art department. So if you're an arty person, like if you have a glue gun and like sparkly things and like to create, like maybe the art department office is the place for you. If you are more organized and you like filing and you don't want to be on a hot, steamy set outside in the heat or in the cold, maybe the production office is a place for you. But other places that need PAs, the camera department. The unions don't like that. They don't like us calling it camera PAs, so I like to say PAs assigned to the camera department. Wardrobe, props, set decoration, locations. If you're big into logistics and like being outside all day and having a little more, what's the word I'm looking for? A little more autonomy in what you're doing, locations department. It's all logistics. Visual effects. So all the special things that you know, when you see those green screens he was talking about earlier. Visual effects is what you're doing in post-production. Special effects has PA. So if you like to blow stuff up, you know, set things on fire. There's a place for you, not just jail. You can blow stuff, or the military. You can blow stuff up and set things on fire on a film set. So there's a lot of different departments. But the PAs, you should consider the PA department as an apprenticeship. This is your on-the-job training. So I've already seen that all of you think you're going to be directors, production designers, or art directors, like DPs, showrunners, writers. Those are only the things that you know. That's the sexy stuff that everybody hears about. But how many of you have sat, well, at home or in a movie theater? Hopefully you stick around for the credits. We don't do this stuff to have you just like walk out before the credits, like, you know, look at my name on the big screen. When it's your name on the big screen, you're going to be waiting. You want to see that, right? That's super exciting when you see your name on the big screen. But you see all those credits. They just keep going and going and going and going. And you're like, oh, can I leave yet? Because they keep going. There are thousands of positions in the film industry that you guys don't even know exist yet. So you think, oh, I want to be a director because I get to boss everybody around and I'm in charge of everything and I get to choose the actors or whatever. But it's not that. It's super hard work. Every one of these gray strands I earned. Like, there is not a gray hair on my head that I did not earn on set. It is stressful. I was the boss. As a line producer and a production manager, my job is to hire and fire. My job is to negotiate crew size and budget. My job is to negotiate with all of the vendors. So it's a very stressful job. It is a lot of bossing people around, which, can you tell, I might actually enjoy? But it is hard work. Directing is hard work. All day long, people are asking you questions, and you better have answers. You have to know the why. The why is super important, and you have to know why about everything. So you might realize, you know what? I just like slinging waters and making, pizza pockets for people. I want to do craft service. Maybe you want to be a chef. Maybe you want to, carry, well, I'll talk about that in a little bit. So there's a lot of different jobs out there, so be open to that. All right, so I want to start by how do you actually get started? The first thing, and I know everybody, these are common themes that you're going to hear, is start building your network, right? When Rhodes asked that question, I was like, man, I'm going to talk about that, Rhodes. You got to start building your network. How do you do that? Well, first, in this room. You're all sitting with people that you need to be talking to each other when you step outside, talking to each other, waiting in line for films. You are each other's tribe. You should all be helping each other make films. So how do you start building that network? Volunteer. Volunteer on everything you possibly can afford to do. And I say afford to do because not everybody can go volunteer because they have jobs, they're in school. Your family actually goes somewhere on vacation instead of sticking around town for you to go volunteer on something. But volunteering is something that's incredibly important, and it adds to your toolkit. So what do I mean by it adds to your toolkit? Soft and hard skills. So soft skills are things like you can deal with big personalities. We all know, like, Frank, he's a big personality, right? I'm a big personality, right? We are a challenge probably to deal with on set. So you need to be a people person, What are other soft skills? You can work on your feet for long periods of time. You have solid communication skills, right? Hard skills are things like, I know how to set up a pop-up tent. I can drive a 15-passenger van. I know Microsoft Word and Excel. Super important. Spelling is your friend. How to set up portable AC units. But you should volunteer on short films, no low-budget feature films, music videos, spec commercials. Volunteer for a film festival. If you can volunteer for a film festival, guess who you're going to meet? Every VIP, every local filmmaker. And that gives you access to people who might bring you out on their film. Frank is coming here with the film sometime in the next year. He's going to need local crew. He wants to hire local crew. So that may be a great way to volunteer and intern on his film. So that's an opportunity. Find the filmmakers in your community, like, again, at the film festival, and start to network folks who will teach you you get to work for free, and you're like, oh, I don't want to work for free. Well, how you want to pay to go to film school? That's expensive. You don't need film school. So allow someone to train you for that free opportunity, because I hear people in the industry in Atlanta, like I came up just like those guys, old school, before computers. I volunteered on everything I possibly could. I waited tables on the side, and the best day of my life was walking out in the middle of a double shift. You probably shouldn't do that. But the restaurant had been messing up, and they didn't have food, and you're bringing like half the order out because they ran out of things and didn't tell anybody, and I basically walked out halfway through a double shift of the restaurant. I never went back. And I will never, maybe someday I'd own a restaurant because I love to cook, but I never want to work in one again. And I never looked back. But I waited until I had the network, the people hiring me, that I could financially do that. So they say know your worth, but when you're starting out, you really don't have worth, right? You are as a human being. You are all somebody. But you don't really know what the heck you're doing. So allow someone to train you for free. Even if they don't know what they're doing, you figure it out by making mistakes. That's the best way to learn. We don't learn through success. We learn through failure, right? All right, so, and the best part is once you start to get those hard and soft skills, you and those other people who don't really know what they're doing, you start to get better at your job and you start to figure things out, and then that is the network that will help you get those paid jobs eventually. Because as you start to get better and people realize, oh, you have worth, and they can pay you something. So then when they can pay, and you should each be helping each other. That's why that network is important. Because if somebody calls me and says, hey, Linda, do you know a PA? I need a PA for a job. All my PAs may be busy. So I'm going to call my PAs and say, hey, are you available? No, who do you recommend? So you're recommending each other. But don't recommend somebody who sucks at their job. If your friend is lazy and has a bad attitude and doesn't know anything, because when you recommend somebody, that's on you. So if I recommend somebody bad, it's not just the person who looks bad, it's me that looks bad. Now people are like, well, I don't trust her word because her word isn't good. So be careful when you recommend things. But be each other's advocates, start to build your network. Number 2 way to do that. Look to your local and state film office. A lot of times they have a listing of crew people, of actors, of classes, stages, production companies. If there are production companies in town, especially people who've come out here to talk about it, send them a letter, not an email. I know, crazy, right? You're gonna have to print something out, put it in an envelope. Do you guys even know what envelopes are? That's what the mail comes in, that comes to your house, in that little box out front. Write a letter, put it in an envelope, go to the post office, this might be a first experience, buy a stamp, and mail it. Why? Because everybody emails. Do you know how many emails I get? I get 100 emails. I have every thank you note that has ever been written to me because so few people actually send them in the mail. How do you stand out from somebody else? Send it in the mail. But send them a letter and say, hey, I am interested in being a production assistant. I would love to either intern or just come out on set for a day and work for you for free to show you what I can do. Because now you've done them a favor, and hopefully if you do a good job, when they have a paying position, they're gonna hire you to pay you. And that's a way to start, again, building that network and start getting a job. Also, your film office sometimes have job listings. So another great thing is, you're like, well, I don't wanna be an actor, why would I be an extra? Well, one, you're getting paid, you're working in the film industry, and you get to be on set without being a crew member and see like, okay, where's crew parking? How does lunch work? How does hair, makeup, and wardrobe work? Like, what is the terminology? You just get to be there, get paid to be there, sit and watch. So it's a great learning experience. So I tell PAs all the time, like, go out and be an extra. You also get to meet the PAs who are in charge of the extras. And you can say to them, hey, I'm watching what you do. What you do looks really interesting. Is there any way that you might have a day where you guys need more PAs that you might be willing to give me a shot? And boom, I mean, okay, sure, you can do the digital phone thing, but you know, having a cheap business card that you can get at Office Depot or print out at home on your printer for less than 20 bucks isn't a bad thing to have in your pocket. So check your local film office. Interact with these people. Oh, Film Bar Monday. Rhodes, who was up here earlier, we started Film Bar Monday in Atlanta. So every Monday, it's at a new bar. Now, some of you aren't probably old enough. I don't know what the laws in North and South Carolina are. I think he's in Greenville, actually. But Film Bar Monday, that's gonna be local filmmakers, right? So that's starting to build your network and starting to meet new people. Another great way, third thing, how to start. Put out on social media, ask your family and friends, who do they know that's in the film business? You would be surprised how many people you probably know that are in the film business that you might not realize, especially friends of friends. Don't ask them for a job. Nobody wants to give you a job, but everybody loves to give advice. I love to give advice. I'm not giving you a job, but I'll tell you all day long how to change your life. Whether I know what I'm talking about or not, I just sound like I do, and usually I have pretty smart things to say. But you know, ask, hey, do you know anybody who's in the film business? Would they talk to me for 10 or 15 minutes about their craft? That means the job that they do, we call them crafts. So ask them, you know, would they talk to me about their craft, how they got started in the industry, and would they give me some advice? So if you can get on the phone with that person or even email with that person back and forth, that is starting to build your network, because they won't hire anybody they know, but now they've talked to you, right? Now they're invested in you because I'm giving you advice, and now I want to see you succeed. I want to see you succeed. I want you succeed. You succeed. So I'm talking to these people, and that is building my network. Once you have a network of people that hire you and a group of PAs that you work with, check in with them every so often. Like, not every day, don't be a stalker, not every week, that's really annoying. Like, we don't, you know, a lot of times we don't have jobs every week. So I came from commercial world. So I might do, in a good month, 2 commercials in a month, because I'm prepping, shooting, and wrapping everything. So, you know, you might want to check in with somebody in commercial world once a month, twice a month. This is the market here. Your market is commercials and independent films, right, and short films. So check in with them every so often. You can ask them, hey, how often should I check in with you? So you have an idea of it's just reminding them that you exist, because we remember the people that we worked with last. So check in with people. In feature and TV world, I'd say probably once a quarter, maybe once every couple of months. The second good way to get started, I know I'm tired too. I swear I am. Be curious, be prepared. Be curious, be prepared. So first thing, because you don't have access to, I mean, this is fantastic. I love that you guys can sit and have all these different speakers come in and talk to you. Education is huge. But self-educate, you know? Read books. There's great books on film. The technology's changed, but we still make movies the same way they did 100 years ago. Like, that hasn't changed. A good story is still a good story. You know, acting, everything is the same, the technology is different. So self-educate, read books. Read books on things you don't think you need to care about. I've never cared about cinematography and sound other than making sure it's good. I didn't need to know, I needed to know what the equipment was so I could negotiate it. I needed to be able to look at their work and know what's good, but I ended up doing a documentary that I was interested in. I bought a camera, well, okay, my husband bought a camera. He bought a camera for me. I had a boom pole and a little Zoom recorder. I can't light myself out of a paper bag, like I cannot light, but I'm good with available light. I've spent 30 years watching people do it. So I taught myself how to use a camera, I taught myself how to use the audio, I taught myself how to set the frame, I taught myself how to edit, because I wanted to do it all myself. As a producer, I don't necessarily have control of the final product, and every single movie I've ever worked on, there were things I got overridden on that I thought they should have done it this way, and they didn't. I'm right. It's really annoying, but I'm right a lot. So I was like, I'm not gonna let other people mess up my thing. I wanna do it myself. So I taught myself how to do all that. And I did that by being curious. I love being curious. And by reading books, listening to podcasts, watching behind the scenes videos. Be curious, be intellectually curious. Find YouTube videos. YouTube University, fabulous. You know, I mean, there's a lot of bad information out there and it takes a while to like filter through the crap, but you will. But you can find things that discuss film terminology, what the different crew jobs are, all those jobs I'm talking about that like you have no idea what are. What is hierarchy? What is the hierarchy structure? Very similar to the military, so any former military would fit right in. What are the protocols? How do you use a walkie-talkie? What's a day in the life of a PA like? There's all these videos out there that teach you what to expect when you're working in the production office or on set. So you get prepared by being curious and by self-educating. Take classes and workshops. Like, this is fantastic, you're all here, that's step one. Which reminds me, for those of you who are from here, you also have a theater. I met a kid who's 15 who's working down at the theater. Well, how does theater relate to film? Well, you're probably gonna work the front door, so you're dealing with the general public, you're handling money because you might work the box office. If you're old enough and they serve alcohol, you're gonna work the bar. You're probably gonna clean the toilets at some point. You're gonna do lighting, you're gonna do wardrobe, you're gonna build sets, all these great valuable skills that apply to our industry. But take classes and workshops. There are organizations that teach online classes. I'm on the board of Atlanta Film Society. We have a ton of online classes. If you're into screenwriting, if you want to learn how to get into the industry in a 3-hour format instead of a 45, if you want to learn how to do a resume, there's all kinds of classes online that are inexpensive that you guys can find. Some are free. Roger Deakins does a podcast, who's a famous cinematographer. And it's talking to writers and directors and producers and assistant directors. It's a fabulous podcast to listen to if you're curious. But yeah, if you don't have local resources, seek them outside. By what? Being curious. Okay, so I know that the S words have already been used, so I'm gonna use one because you'll remember it. I promised I would not curse this whole time, but Google that shit is my motto. Google is your friend. If you are not constantly all day long when you see something that you don't know about Googling, if you are not intellectually curious, y'all are doing life wrong. Like, I'm Googling, like 1 o'clock in the morning, I can't sleep and something pops up in my head. I'm like, I wonder what that's, and I'll Google it. Like, knowledge is out there. We have this thing in our pocket that allows us to see everything in the world. Use it. If you are not curious, like, why are you even, I mean, I don't want to say why are you even alive, because I don't want you to like kill yourself or something, but seriously, why are you alive? Like, the world is amazing. Life is amazing. Google, figure it out. All right, so be curious. Oh, yeah, I love to hire curious people because they seek out information. And when you get that first job, recognize and understand, you'll recognize and understand a little bit about what's going on, right? Because you've Googled that, you've gone and taken classes, or you've looked at stuff. So now when you come on your first set, you're still gonna be nervous, but you're like, oh, that's probably the hair person. That's like the grip, because I can tell by the tools. That's the camera people. Oh, and I know what kind of camera that is. So it gives you a comfortability when you show up for the first time that doesn't make you as nervous. Start putting together a kit. If you want to work in film, start getting stuff together. So that 15-year-old kid when I was talking to, I was giving him advice, whoopah! He whips out a little pad of paper and a pen that fits in his pocket. That is PA Kit 101. I don't like the spiral notebooks because they always get like caught on stuff and they get mushed. So like little composition, that girl, you got big pockets if that's fitting in your pocket. I mean, I got like a whole lot going on down here and my pockets aren't that big. Yes, yeah. But little notebooks that fit in your pocket, because yeah, like that, hold that one up, right there, that's perfect. You know, because what happens is if you think, well, I can just use my phone. You're never gonna, by the time you pull your phone out, unlock your screen, get to notes, I've already told you what I needed you to do and I've walked away. And you're like, what did she just say? I have no idea what's happening. So you want a pad of paper, a pencil, mechanical pencil, pens, and red and black Sharpies. Because we use Sharpies for stuff all the time, making signs, making notes, writing on the top of a water bottle whose name. You got 100 people on set, I've just handed out water. You're gonna take a couple sips and you're gonna put it on the ground. Now I got 100 water bottles with a couple sips taken out. We're destroying the planet and we're wasting money and we're wasting water, right? So I wanna make sure everybody's name's on it, especially actors, because you know they're gonna take a sip and put it down. So that's basic, the most basic kit you can have for your film crew in training. I love those shirts, by the way, fantastic. The notebook, pencil, pens, red and black Sharpie. So that's like the basic, cheapest kit you can put together, right? I mean, you can do that for under $2. A small backpack, that's perfect. Can you hold that up for me? So it's like a messenger bag. Fanny packs, which sadly are making a comeback. I'm a child, yeah, see, the children of the 80s are like, oh my God, why are those back? Like the children of the 70s are like, why are bell bottoms back? Like high-waisted jeans are great. I don't need to see any more butt cracks. But what I don't like is the ones that are like flared on top with the, the mothers are like, Like the worst fashion of the 80s has come back. But fanny packs are incredibly helpful because you can carry everything. You're not on the Appalachian Trail, right? You don't need a huge backpack. So a messenger bag, a fanny pack, something small. What are you gonna carry in this? A multi-tool. I forgot mine. What's a multi-tool? Gerber and Leatherman make these, but essentially it has a flathead and a Phillips head screwdriver. It has a little pair of scissors. It has a knife. It has all kinds of little tools, because I may say, I need you to take that road sign off. That stop sign needs to come down. Or I need you to, cut cardboard to lay on the floor to make sure it's safe. Or I need you to tear pieces of tape, whatever it is. What else are you gonna carry? You're gonna carry a headlamp and a small flashlight. Why a headlamp and a flashlight? That seems redundant, right? Well, if it's midnight, we're shooting a vampire movie or a werewolf movie. It's 3 o'clock in the morning, you're tired, I need you to carry something through the woods. So you're gonna use both hands. So where's the flashlight gonna go? In your mouth. Not headlamp, you're carrying both, like how are you gonna carry a flashlight? So you're probably gonna put it in your mouth and your teeth and you're gonna walk and you're gonna have something in front of you. And then you're gonna trip, and that thing you're carrying is gonna slam into the flashlight, and then you're gonna be toothless and look foolish, because you're a PA, because you have no money to get your teeth fixed. And then it's just gonna be embarrassing until you can afford to get that tooth fixed, or you go home and beg mom and dad to pay for fixing your tooth. Which they'll do, because hopefully they love you and you're not an awful human being. So headlamp and a small flashlight. Anything that you can, and wear a belt, because you're also gonna have a walkie-talkie. Did I mention the whole no butt crack rule on set? Your pants, even if you have stuff to hold them up, you need a belt, because as soon as you put that walkie-talkie on, your pants are gonna start sliding off. So anything, like I like to have flashlights that have the little thing that you can put on a belt. You don't wanna go crazy though. I had a PA show up with like pouches everywhere. He was like this skinny, but he damaged all the walls in the location because he had so much. After 2 days, I was like, dude, come talk to me. Like, let's pair this stuff. Like, we gotta figure this out, because you are costing more damage than you are worth to have on my set. So we just need to pull this back a little bit. All right, what else is going to go in there? You're going to be carrying as a PA extra walkie batteries. So you're going to want a place to put them because apparently they have like this thing called radiation in them. So ladies, if you want to have kids, maybe don't put your walkie-talkie in front. You want to put them in, kill the kidneys instead of the ovaries. I don't know, it doesn't make sense to me either, but that's what they say, so, you know. But you're going to be carrying extra walkie batteries because when everybody else's walkie starts making the beep, beep, beep sound, you need to give them a walkie battery. You're going to carry water. You may be out in a field for 12 hours just saying like, hey, my motorcycle's going by. My motorcycle's coming back, or drones or whatever. So you're going to want to have snacks, water, anything else, you know, medication if you take it, anything else that you're going to want to have all day long, you're going to be carrying with you. Also a pair of leather gloves. Why leather? Like, sure, cheap garden gloves are great. We have to touch a lot of hot things, hot lights. Also, sometimes you're in horse country, right? So in a field, what does horse country have? Big piles of horse poop. Well, I need to have this beautiful scene of a picnic. So how's that horse poop going away? There's only so many shovels on the art department truck. So guess what? Sue's picking it up. I could literally do a 45-minute talk on just picking up poop. Leather gloves, incredibly important. Did I say the film industry is glamorous? Yeah, it's not. There's nothing about it, except when you go to a film festival and get to walk the red carpet. That's the only glamour that you'll ever find. Oh, 5 minutes. Really? It's been has it been 45 minutes since I started? Yeah. All right, I'm gonna try to go faster. Copy you. You'll need rain gear. So next level, rain gear, top and bottom. This next list is stuff that all that other stuff you can probably find in your uncle's, aunts, cousins, neighbors, friends, junk drawers or garage, right? All this stuff is out there. But if you're gonna be on set, you need rain gear. Top and bottom, hat to keep water off, because either you're gonna be standing out in the rain or the snow, or we're gonna create rain and snow and you're gonna get soaking wet. Having good boots. Now, these are not good boots. These just look good. I'm dressed like a PA, by the way. So how do you dress like a PA? Shorts. People complain about cargo pants. I don't want to carry a fanny pack. So my phone goes here, my wallet goes here, my call sheet, which is the piece of paper that is the Bible that tells you everything you're doing is here, and then I keep my sides in this pocket. What are sides? They're a miniature version of the scenes that we're shooting today, so of the script. So I've got all my paperwork on me. I've got petty cash in a pocket. Comfortable shoes. These are not comfortable. That's why my feet hurt now. Get some lightweight, good, waterproof boots. If you can't afford good boots, get cheap boots at Walmart, but get insoles. And get good socks. Everybody talks about boots. No, you're on your feet 12, 14, 16, 18 hours a day, every day. When you are my age, you will be really happy you had good boots and shoes, because otherwise you're not going to be able to walk. It's painful. All right, so that's the basic stuff. And once birthdays and holidays, that's a great way to get stuff. Because you're going to need layers, right? So I didn't know how cold the room was going to be, so I dressed in layers today. So if it was hot, I could take this off. You're going to be in all kinds of weather conditions. Keep extra clothes in the trunk of your car. Because if it's one of those like 15-minute squalls that comes up and you don't have your rain gear, do you want to be walking around in wet panties all day? Probably not. Not wet socks, not wet shoes. I keep a whole nother set. All right, I'm going to skip the film resume thing. What I will say is resumes should be 1 page long. Corporate resumes that they teach you in school, awful. Chances are whatever they teach you in a film school or a film class, probably going to be awful. I actually teach a resume class in December online if you are at the stage where you want to get into the industry, but resumes need to be 1 page, rows and columns, all that texty stuff that you see in corporate, too much. At the top, your contact information. Create an objective. You know, maybe you're a recent college graduate or a recent high school graduate looking to join the film industry, but tell me a little bit about you. Are you hardworking? Can you stand on your feet? You know, what are some of those soft skills that you may already have in your toolkit to be able to add? But don't just say like, I want a job in the film industry. You know, tell me something a little bit about you. Recent college grad, transferring from another job. Maybe you were an office manager and you hated it, or a financial planner and you hated it, or a fireman and you hated it, and you want to change careers. Contact info, objective, that says you want to be a PA. People send resumes like, I want to join the film industry. Okay, well, you don't even know what that entry-level position is. I'm going to cast that resume aside. So you want to get a job as a production assistant. Then you put your credits, if you have them. And if you have credits, even free ones, if you're doing free work, it doesn't matter. You still did the job. Put it on there. If you have no credits at all, well, you have job experience. You know, did you have to go out and hustle lawn mowing with your neighborhood? So you're dealing with the general public, you're handling money, you obviously aren't afraid to work hard, right? Did you work in a restaurant? Did you stand in a heavy kitchen? Did you work on a roadside crew? What are the things that you have done in your life that match up to the film industry? So as an example, yeah, did you handle money? Because we handle money. Did you deal with the general public? Put up with big personalities like in a kitchen? Stand on your feet all day, work on a lawn crew. As an Uber driver, you get to learn your way around. All of these things are directly relatable. So that's related experience. And your whole resume can be built with related experience. But just give me the name of the company, what you did, and like a little sentence that is related. I don't need that half a page of text. Maybe you worked at Best Buy and you had to use walkie-talkies. A lot of jobs make you use walkie-talkies. So you already know how to use a walkie-talkie. All these things are valuable skills. Do you have any leadership stuff? Are you an Eagle Scout? Did you take Toastmaster classes, public speaking classes? Do you volunteer for Meals on Wheels? Do you volunteer at your church? Like are you a good human being? All of those things are helpful. All right, so I'm gonna get to general tips. Be kind. I should be, as the boss, I used to say I should be the only mean person on set. I used other words that I'm not going to use in this class or in this session. But be kind, always be kind. Because even to mean people, you don't know why they're mean. Maybe their dog died, maybe their wife is sick, maybe their child is sick, or maybe they're just a jerk. But this whole new idea in social media that we should match bad energy with bad energy is why the world is a hot mess. Do not match. My goal is when someone hates me is to make them like me. Like, I'm not going to be annoying about it, but by the end you are going to respect me and you are going to like me, no matter how much of a jerk you are. So be kind. And today's PA is tomorrow's producer. You never know who's going to hire you. So that person you were a jerk to is going to be the person that hires you. Be teachable. We hate a know-it-all. I know a lot of stuff, but I learn something new every day, right? It goes back to being curious. So we know that you're new. We can see the fear in your eyes. We've been around long enough. Like, you're not fake it till you make it. We see right through that. It's okay. It's on-the-job training. You're supposed to not know what you're doing. So don't be a know-it-all. Be teachable. Let them know that you're willing to learn, and that will take you very far. And if you aren't learning, again, every day, you're doing life wrong. Be teachable. Be honest. Don't lie. If you screw up, fess up, and fess up immediately. Apologize, learn from your mistakes, and move on. Like, I've already yelled at you. I've forgotten about the incident. And you're walking around all day like, oh my God, I did. No, then you're just going to screw up more. Learn from it, right? When you get pushed down in the dirt, you get up, and it's how you recover. And that's what we notice. We want to see the people who get up, rub some dirt on it, and keep moving, right? If you're going to walk around like Eeyore all day, we don't want to be with you. So be honest. Don't throw other people under the bus. Do not throw people under the bus. A lot of times I will take the blame for stuff just to shut everybody up. You know, my bad, that was my team, that was our fault, it won't happen again. Done. Then everybody shuts up, right? Everybody's done. Problem solved, we can move on. Ask questions if you don't understand an order. If somebody says something to you and you don't understand it, I know it's scary to ask questions, ask questions. There are no stupid questions. I mean, your question might be stupid, but I'd rather have you ask the stupid question than not ask and screw something up. So, but always do it at an appropriate time too. If you're curious about what somebody's doing, if the sun is setting and we got to get the shot, and you're like, hey, so what is it like to be a lighting guy? No, that is not the appropriate time. Like, read the room, right? Read the room. But you can ask questions. Also, one just quick thing too, a lot of times at lunch you'll hear film people like, you know, maybe talking trash about other film people. Don't do that. They all know each other. You don't know that the guy you're complaining about is the dude's best friend because you just got there. So watch yourself, but ask questions. Be prepared to work long hours, different times. Monday you might start at 6 a.m., Tuesday at 8, Wednesday at noon, Thursday at 3, and then you're working an overnight on Friday, so you start at 8 p.m. And then Monday, you got to turn yourself around to be back on set at maybe 4 a.m. It's long, awful hours. It's brutal, and this is why you have to love it, because if you don't, this industry is not for the faint of heart. Improv classes. Being in the moment, being present, especially if you want to be a director, improv classes are fabulous because it teaches you how to learn. And it teaches you how to pay attention, because if you're not paying attention during an improv class, the whole skit falls apart. You've got to pay attention. So you don't have to want to be an actor, but if you want to be a director or just learn how to be more present in the moment, improv classes are fantastic. Understand that there's 100 people that want that job. If you act like you don't want to be there, you won't be. I fired volunteers all the time because I got 100 other people who want the job. Don't ask me what time you get to go home. I'll send you home right now and find somebody else to fill the spot. I don't mess around. There's a lot of hurry up and wait. If you can lean, you can clean. Find somebody to help, bring people water, clean up trash. Read your call sheet. That's the Bible that tells you everything. If you 90% of the questions that the crew is going to ask you are going to be on that call sheet. I never want to hear somebody say, I don't know. I want to hear them say, I don't know, but let me find out. Always. Same with reading the map. It'll teach you where crew parking is, maybe where extras parking is, where base camp is, that maybe where hair, makeup, and wardrobe and lunch is. Always know where the bathrooms are. Because the film crew may have 30 seconds, especially the female camera department members who never get to go, they have 30 seconds to use the bathroom. So always know. That's a pretty important thing when you got 30 seconds to make stuff happen, right? Seems silly. You have two eyes, you have 2 ears, you have 1 mouth. Close this one. There's a reason for that, right? Less of this, more of this, and more of this. That will take you a long way. Be in service of your team. You're now a member of the this is why service, if you work at a restaurant, if you work at a coffee house, we are in the service industry. We serve our department, we serve our boss, we serve the story. Our job is to do everything possible to make that happen. So be in service. Only you can take care of you. Only you can take care of you. Drink water, use sunblock. Guess where the most surgeries are in the South? Your ears. You're wearing ball caps. Nobody thinks, when was the last time you thought to put sunblock on your ears? That's why it's the biggest surgery. So wear sunblock. Even people with darker skin, wear sunblock. Everybody's gonna get burnt. You think you aren't? 16 hours in the sun, you can fry and peel. Get sleep. Don't go out to the club every weekend. I know, JD and I were laughing. My husband is a DGA first AD. We were laughing about that line because we are breaking all of our own rules. But you're gonna need sleep because you're only gonna get literally a couple hours a night. You've got to get sleep on the weekend, which is why it's tough. You don't see your family, you don't tuck your kids in, you're not reading them books. So commercial world and feature world, think about where you want to be and what your lifestyle is, because you're not going to see your friends and family. Your new friends are going to be those people that you work with because you don't have time for anybody else. Okay, I think the last thing, the film industry, if you don't make it, that's okay. You can still be a hobbyist. Think of the film industry like sports team. So you start out in Pee Wee football or T-ball baseball, right? And then maybe you play a little bit in high school, you're not very good. Maybe you get into college and play. But how many kids who started in T-ball or Pee Wee football actually make it to the Super Bowl or make it to the NFL, right? It's super hard to get into the NFL or the NBA. Our industry is the same way. So if you don't work on a Marvel film, that's okay. You can still make a living and have an incredibly fulfilling career working in all kinds. I did commercials. I love commercials. I did $500,000 to $2 million commercials. I've traveled all over the world. My husband did a job in Greece, and because I'm semi-retired, I went for 4 months and I traveled. So you're gonna see, I did the first commercial at the Georgia Aquarium before it was open. You're gonna get into spaces and places that you never thought possible, and you're gonna have, if you love this industry, it's not all sunshine and roses and unicorns, it's hard, but if you love it, no matter whether you take a full-time job and just help your friends make movies on the weekend, or whether you do commercials or just independent films, there is a spot for you, and if you decide that you do it for a little while, you're like, this is the circus, these are carnies, these people are crazy, I don't want anything to do with them. That's okay too. There is a spot for you in the world. But support other people who are making the art. So give $5 or $10 or $20 to your friend who's making a movie. Show up to their screenings. Help them if you can. That $20 feeds 2 people. That stuff is important. All right, anything else that I think is important and special? Don't judge yourself by anybody else. Like, you may be really successful, and you may be really successful, and you may be really successful, and the person next to you might not catch on as quick. They were just in the right time at the right place. They just happened to get on the right. Your time will come. Just make it happen. I see you. He already knows from the PA Academy. I'm just going to ignore him. I'm as hungry as you guys are, I swear. Thousands of different jobs, talked about that. Okay, so if you're over 18, in Atlanta, I do a 2-day boot camp called the PA Academy. You can go to thepaacademy.org. There are still seats available. It's the first weekend in November. It's 2 12-hour days. It is a boot camp. So part of that boot camp is not only to train you, it's also to see if you have what it takes to make it. There's a lot of people who don't show up for day 2. I usually lose in a class of 100 about 10 people because they realize this isn't for me. Or they foolishly think, well, I want to be a director. And the path to directing is not being a PA. It's not. But how are you going to know how a real crew works? How are you going to know the questions that get asked? How are you going to know the hierarchy and protocol? So go work on set and then go make your art. If you know you want to be a writer, director, DP, go do it. Like Frank said, the only way you'll know is to do it. But also spend some time on real sets to see what it's like and to learn from the best people in the world. All right, I will be around all weekend. How bad are we? Can I answer a couple questions? You're not, Ashley. I can do whatever I want. I own this place right now. Who's got a question? If y'all want to leave, you are more than welcome to. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so you're producing something. What role do you take on set? Just UPM? Or?
A lot of times when I was doing independent films, I was doing, I was the caterer, the locations person, the first AD, the court. I'm making sure that everything is running properly. I'm thinking, so first thing, I got to get the first shot of the day. What's involved with getting the first shot of the day? Do we have everything we need? Then the next shot. Then, okay, after lunch, let's make sure everything. I'm problem solving because I don't want my first AD, my director and DP to know there's any issues happening on set. If they never know that the world is on fire outside the room they're standing in, I've done my job. So I'm mitigating anything that comes up, making sure that we've got lunch figured out. Oh, that person is vegan and I have no food. How am I I need to send somebody out for that. So it's constant problem solving.
And then, so how many pre-production meetings do you have with the and stuff like that?
If you're a director, you're gonna have a lot. So that guy back there with the glasses holding the camera, like right behind you, yeah, he's the one looking around like I'm not talking about him. He's a DGA first AD working on huge budget movies for Amazon, so you can have a conversation with him about that. But he's going to be here till Sunday too. I'm throwing him under the bus. But you're constantly communicating with your first AD because they're scheduled. They're actors' schedules. What's the best time to film what? So you're constantly. But everybody, I know up here there don't seem to be a lot of production meetings. A couple days before you shoot, a week before you shoot, whenever you have time, even if, sit down and have a meeting, walk through the script, walk through that script breakdown that says all the things that you need to have on set to make sure that they're there. To make sure, wardrobe thought the glasses and the watch were coming from props. Props thought the glasses and the watch were coming from wardrobe. You wouldn't know that until you got on set if you didn't walk through all that stuff and make sure somebody has it. I also, especially for independent films where people don't know each other, I'd like to, maybe I'm not paying for lunch if I don't have any money, but I'll try to maybe come out to a bar or a little cafe for coffee and have everybody get to know each other so then everybody knows each other's names and what they do. I would go so far as to say people are going to laugh at you and think it's silly, but a first day on an independent film, it doesn't hurt to have a name tag that says, my name is Linda Burns, I'm the producer, I'm the DP. So then everybody knows who each other are. Anybody else have a question? Does that mean it's lunch? Yes, ma'am. Go ahead, hit it.
What software do you use? Do you use Movie Magic? Or?
I do because I did bigger budget stuff, but there's Gorilla, there's Showbiz. So Showbiz budgeting and scheduling is a little bit cheaper, and the people who make Showbiz have a lot of really, really fabulous other software that you can use. Movie Magic is the industry standard, But I think it should be showbiz, because showbiz, movie magic hasn't really made a lot of changes in the last 30 years since I've been doing stuff, but showbiz came to our festival 2 years ago and showed a lot of the software that they use, and it's great. They've got all kinds of cool, you can add your like shots in, location photos, all kinds of cool stuff. So yeah, that's a great one. But there's cheaper versions out. Gorilla's one. There's a lot of other ones. I think Gorilla's like $300 or something. But I think even Movie Magic has gotten cheaper. And they're pretty easy to use. But yeah, look into Showbiz or Gorilla. I think those would be two good choices. But you can also do it by hand. I mean, people do breakdowns still using Microsoft Excel. You know, if you actually know the functionality of how to like track, you know, to different pages and stuff. And if you don't, learn Excel and Word, because we still use that a lot. But every big studio, they're going to have their own proprietary software. Like there's this thing called Synchronize, like scene, like a movie scene, instead of synchronize. They use it. Marvel has their own proprietary software, and they'll give you a copy and allow you to use it, and then they'll take that copy back. But it's easy to figure out. All right, anybody else? All right, y'all, that's lunch. Thank you very much, and good luck.
Thank you, Linda, so much for that wealth of knowledge. Again, paacademy.org if you guys want to learn more. There's lots of classes up there. Also on the Atlanta Film Society page, you can see more classes there as well. Lunch is outside. The hot dogs, please, parents have students go through first, and then parents can go after that. Thank you, guys.